What up, everybody? This is Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast, and I am joined by none other than Kariemah Shaw today, also known as TheSportsConnect. How are you doing tonight?
I am fan freaking tastic. I'm glad that we pulled that out because I probably wouldn't be feeling so super fantastic.
Right. For those who may not know, the Warriors kick off the in-season tournament with a victory, another nail biter. Second game-winning game, I guess, in a row. They beat the Kings on a clay game winner, and now Steph gets one to roll in against the Thunder. Draymond almost cost us that one, going for a tip in with no time left on the clock, which doesn't make any sense. But they waved it off, and it counted. The Warriors get a 2-point victory over the Thunder. Crazy game.
You think?
143. Well, 141 to 139 is a ridiculous final score. We've been raving about the Warriors defense so far this season. And I think they actually played decent defense this game. The Thunder just couldn't miss.
I'd agree with that assessment.
Go
ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
I was going to say, I felt like that was their saving grace, was that they were playing really good defense. And yes, it was like OKC couldn't miss, but I still felt like we still held it together defensively, that it didn't just get blown all the way out of proportion, because at times it felt like this entire game, it felt like we were down by like 15 and we were only down by 4, but it felt like a much larger deficit watching it and going through it, because it was just like, can y'all just grab something right now? Like, can y'all put a body on Isaiah Joe? Like, this dude, like, hitting everything.
Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Joe is a sniper, and they're losing him. He's getting open. So that was like, that could have been better. But the Lou Dort third quarter,
this dude,
I think he ended up with 16 points in that quarter or something. He finished with 29 points, definitely up there in his career high, probably close to it. 6 for 6 from three. When you can pull out games like this, because it's 82 games, potentially 83 if they make it to the championship, but you're going to play against teams where guys just completely outshoot themselves. And the fact that they can win games like that, they've shown that they can win one like that. That's huge. Josh Giddey in the beginning of that fourth quarter just couldn't be stopped going to the rim.
I was just like, anybody gonna put a body on Giddey?
Right.
Giddey's just like walking just right into the paint
and doing what he wants.
Yep.
Guys are bouncing off of him. He's just throwing it in. Crazy. The Thunder ended up shooting 60% from the field and lost. 52% from three. They hit 15 threes out of 29. The Warriors ended up hitting 18 threes, which was ultimately the difference, because the field goals and the free throws were pretty much the same. I think the Warriors hit one more free throw. Crazy game. Steph again. And he didn't even seem like it was a good game from him, but it was just like, Steph ain't killing.
Right. It was a controlled kind of just, listen, I get up for work in the morning at 5 a.m. and I clock out at 5 p.m. Like that, it was workmanlike, if that's how we want to, call it. But it was just like, he was hitting those deep threes, just like kind of when we just like needed that, like, come on, like, let's get something, just boom. And it wasn't, you weren't sitting there saying like, Stephen, why are you taking that shot? Like, come on. But it was just right on time. So this game.
He ended up finishing with 32, 8 rebounds. I don't remember when he got all those rebounds. 7 assists, 2 steals. He only had 3 turnovers, even though it felt like he had more to me. But just, this is his floor game at this point. Like, he's just at a level where a regular game for him is just this product right here, which is crazy. Clay found his shot early, and then like the Thunder adjusted, and he didn't really get a lot of open looks after that. But clutch free throws at the end, clutch stops.
That clutch three to tie it late. It was like maybe 2 minutes or something to go, or maybe 3, but
Yeah.
clutch 3 there.
He's looking better. I mean, like, I didn't think he looked too bad the first game. He just missed shots, but he's
Yeah,
made his shots ever since then. Like, he's shooting pretty well. Other than that very first game, he ended up having 4 fouls. I don't think a few of those were actually fouls, but
they weren't.
18 points, 3 rebounds for him. Wiggins looked better. It doesn't necessarily show up in his plus minus. He was somehow a minus 14, which doesn't make a ton of sense
Ooh,
to me.
ooh,
Um, I
ooh.
don't even remember him staying at that level, but 17 points, 5 rebounds. He was crashing the glass. He created some extra opportunities, particularly on the offensive glass late in the game. And that's kind of what they need him to do at this point. Like, him and Kuminga on the court, we only saw it briefly, but they put Kuminga in for Looney. Well, not in for Looney, but in Looney's place
Yeah,
with the starters. And I was liking what I was seeing for a second, even though they kind of botched the
they did.
the
That
coverage.
last, yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, come on, guys.
yeah.
Like you had one job, one job.
One job, one job.
But that was a good look. I felt like that was a good look to show that kind of defense there, that Kerr put out there for that stop.
Mm,
Because if they did their job just in that last second right there, that was an easy block and turnover that we just dribble out at this point, or just, just eat a lot more of that clock up.
mhm.
Because it was just set up so perfectly. And you can't forget that Wiggins did really well at the free throw line. Yes, granted, the last time he went, he missed both of them because he should have dunked that, but he's deciding he wants to do a layup. That
I'm
was such
like,
a sweet
yo,
pass from Draymond, and he
exact.
goes up and tries to lay it up, and it rims all the way out. It was like right here. This is what we're talking about, Wiggins. Dunk it.
Dunk it.
You
Just
have a better chance because we can't all the way trust you on the line. But
thank
at
you.
least we get 2 short points
Thank you.
right here. And what does he do? He ends up missing both
Missed
of
the
them
boat.
bad boys. But prior to, he was like 4 for 5 at the line or something like that. So,
Mhm.
like you said, it was definitely an improvement from Wiggins. It definitely was. He was flying all around, which was much, much better to see. And shooting confidently, doing his little baby hook. I really like
Mhm.
that because he didn't like settle. He wasn't hanging out at the 3-point line at all. He was inside, really doing the work there. And like we said, flying around. He was getting a little cooked on defense and some of them joints that I was like,
Yeah,
Wiggins, what do you come on? However, I think overall this was a much, much better showing for Wiggins that he can take with him. So, like we said, he's getting back into shape and everything. So, probably
mhm.
by game 10, we should see a solid Wiggins that's looking to be better.
For sure, for sure. And I think once we see that, like, I think his 3 will start falling a little bit more. He's kinda shying away from taking some of them. He only took
Yeah.
1. They absolutely need him to take what he usually takes, which is about 5 to 7 a game, and hit, like, 2 of them. That would be immense for the offense.
Hmm.
But, yeah, I agree. Just dunk the ball. Like, he had one play in transition where he just literally just went up and just
Yeah, just
nice little quick.
look, look,
Like, dude, you can
well,
dunk so easily. Like, you don't even have to
yeah.
jump. You don't have to jump your full, like, the way
You
he
don't have
dunked
to
on
put
Luka,
all of this into it. It's
you
it's
don't.
literally like it's like a layup for you.
Yeah, it's probably easier. Oh,
Yeah.
we got some, balloons going. But, but, like, I feel like that last play right there, it probably would've been easier for him to dunk it rather than trying to make that contested layup. But,
Yep.
yeah, I think that just comes with him just being more confident, more aggressive altogether. I wanted to touch on the center play for us tonight. We had Dario kind of have like his own kind of
Mm.
not necessarily fake game, but like he definitely played
Yeah.
above himself, right? 20 points. He's good for a few buckets, but not necessarily 20 points in 20 minutes. That was kind of insane. But him and Looney were kind of food out there on defense for this particular
Yeah.
team.
Talk about it. Talk about
And
it.
and this is one of those teams that's going to spread you out, and they have one center. Chet's really like a really really tall wing.
Hmm.
And those type of teams are going to put pressure on Loon and Dario athletically that I don't think they're quite equipped to handle. And this is where you kind of have Trace Jackson Davis for, but he was sent down to the G League. And I don't think that was the best decision, just because we're going to be seeing teams like this all throughout the season, and his reps can be had with the big team. He doesn't have to go down to Santa Cruz just to get reps, whereas Pajemski's not really going to see a ton of minutes. Even like Corey Joseph's not even in a rotation, and he is, competing with Brandon for minutes. So I think TJD could have helped a lot this game just based on his athleticism, while still maintaining some size in there. He can definitely get it and mix it up with Chet a little bit. What do you think about them sending him down to Santa Cruz?
Well, I didn't have an issue with it, and I think what they can do is take a look at this game. Now they can see, like, you know what, we can bring him back up and everything, or when we do play OKC and run and gun teams like that. But initially, I thought it was good that they go down because they are going to be playing with the G League team that they just started practicing. Might as well practice with the team where you will get a lot more reps going. So, but in this case, yeah, as we step back and look, it's like, oh, he really would have been good in this spot because we saw the glaring issues. But Looney also picked up 3 quick fouls early on, so that really forced the hand where we saw a lot of Dario in spots that he didn't need to be in, So, but
Yeah.
good for Dario for just kind of sticking with it and doing what he could, because we needed all of those points that he did contribute with. And even some of the tip outs were good. I just wish that he would actually grab it opposed to hitting it out all the time. But overall, so I'm okay with them going to the G League, but I think moving forward, I think it will be easier for them to be like, no, we're gonna need TJD for this little stint right here. We're gonna need him right now. Then we'll send him back down. But for now, we can use him. So I think they'll learn from this particular game when and if to call up Trace.
For sure. I mean, you hear a lot more often now how the center in the NBA is described. Unless you're a superstar, you're kind of just like an innings eater. Like you're just like a lot of people compare the center in the NBA to the running back in the NFL, where it's more situational. Styles make minutes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When you're playing these younger, more athletic teams, you might want to go with Trace. When you're playing like a big bruising big that is a post up guy, you might want to go with more Looney. And if you just need that offensive juice, you probably want to go with Dario. But I think you need all three, right? And then it's going to save Draymond's legs a little bit, and you can just kind of very specific matchups or very specific points in the games go to Draymond at the 5. But I do think those three, Looney, Dario, and Trace, can kind of just be interchangeable depending on matchup. I think that will help this team the most. But Jonathan Kuminga, 19 points in 22 minutes in a row. Like, it didn't even seem like he was scoring that much. I mean, he was finishing a lot of plays around the rim, but he had 19 points in 22 minutes, which is good for him. Only 2 rebounds, and he did miss a few specific plays. I think he needs to grow as a passer out of the post. Once he gets the ball inside, he's so dynamic as a scorer above the rim that teams inevitably are going to try to come in. And he missed Moses, I think, on one kick out. He ended up taking like a midi that was contested. But I think overall he needs to either him or Moses, but probably him, need to take a step forward as like a kind of solo creator scorer, like get the ball in the post and punish people or make the pass every time. Because as we've seen tonight, there's going to be some nights where Chris Paul don't want to shoot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me touch on Kuminga real quick because he started off a little choppy, and it was just like, dude, if you don't calm the freak down, like I need you to be solid here. Like you can really do something in this game with your athleticism and him being that comfortable with his jump shot. It's so good. That foul line jumper that he hit. And then when he went to the line, I was like, you just hit a foul line jumper.
Mm-hmm.
So these free throws that you're about to take, you should make these.
Right.
And he bricks the first one, but then makes the second one. And that's where I'm just like, homie, like this right here is your area that you can improve. Granted, he has improved a lot more from the line, but
Mm.
I think in the second half, you really started to see him like really put things together and kind of just like, all right, we got this. Because that second unit really got us back into the game where it
Yep.
just seemed like, but everybody just seemed like they were off their rocker anyway. So it was just
Yep.
like, can we get somebody to freaking calm down? And yes, like you said, CP3 missed like every shot. I feel like every single
It,
shot he took, he missed. And I'm like, dude, how are you missing this close to the rim as well? And the elbow is like your money shot. But if he wasn't on our team, he would have been making that. So I like reverted back to that. It was like mad at him, but he did what? He had like what 14 assists or something, some crazy line like
13,
that.
13 assists,
So
no turnovers.
yeah, so it's like, all right, you still
Mm-hmm.
did your thing,
Right.
okay, because you had the others like step in. But it was good to see Moody find his shot again because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh please, come on, Moody.
Yeah. He's one of those guys like if as long as he gets his attempts up, he's probably going to somehow end up back at 40%, right?
Yeah,
If he takes two, misses his first two, and doesn't take another one, obviously he's not going to get into a rhythm. But if you just keep feeding him, he's got the touch that he'll find his shot. And he hit, I think, two of his last three, ended up
yeah,
2 of 5, like he did last game, 40%. I think he's pretty good for those 2 threes per game. But yeah, Chris Paul, 1 point, 13 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers, only 1 foul. But I think against these young teams like this that have a lot of athleticism and size on the perimeter, he's
hmm
not going to be too eager to get his shot off because he's not going to be able to get it off clean. Um, but that also could be where Trace comes in, right? If he sets solid screens and rolls to the rim and
yeah,
defenders go with him to the rim, that
yeah,
can open it up for Chris Paul a little bit more. I also think you're going to have games like tonight where Dario and Kuminga give you 39 points off the bench, right? Like that's
hmm
cool. But I do think the offensive juice of a Clay or a Wiggins could help that second lineup a little bit more.
yes,
Um,
yes,
just from an ISO standpoint, right? Because
yep.
there's a lot of possessions where they're running a pick and roll and it just kind of just turns into you get it, you get it, you get it.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. No, you take it. No, 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 you take it. Like
right.
I don't want the ball to stick in my hands. No, no, no.
Yeah, like nobody wants to be the guy. Well, everybody's trying to make that extra pass, but no one's open. So somebody
Right.
has to just score on their man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
we were
you
hoping,
gotta go.
yeah, and it's getting down to late shot clock and guys are just going. But
Yeah.
that's why I say either Kuminga or Moody have to make like a small leap as like some individual scores, like against one-on-one coverage, or either Wiggins or Clay has to be in those lineups to provide that bailout offense. But that also it comes with the caveat that Wiggins kind of gets his offense back going, which he did tonight. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that second unit could use a little bit more offensive juice from those wings, and they can stagger a little bit better with the starters.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I saw a little bit of that. Clay was in with the second unit, and then you did see Wiggins in there too. I feel like they were both
mhm.
like in at the same time in the second unit that you started to see like, all right, okay, okay,
Yeah.
new look right here. So I think I, I'd have to say that Kerr is doing a nice job starting out this season, kind of mixing and matching and making those adjustments. Like, you know what, this ain't really working. Nope, get up in
Hmm.
here now. I need you on him, and we didn't even mention GP2, and we need to. Because homie, that last shot, that little pass from
Yeah.
Draymond, and I was like, oh, he about to get blocked, and it just went in. That chef's kiss.
Yep.
Like that was so like
Vintage Warriors. I mean, he's like this team's Andre in a sense. Like he guards all his different
yeah,
positions, always in the right place at the right time. You don't really
hands,
expect him to make a
deflection,
three, huh?
the
Deflection.
deflections, yep,
Yep,
and that 3. Mm-hmm.
exactly. You don't really expect him to make a three, but when he makes it, it's like, okay, like he's a gamer. Like he just knows, he just
Yeah.
makes the big plays. I kind of wish he made that three that Clay kicked out to him at the end of the game, but
Yes,
hey,
get
it is
out my
what
head.
it is.
'Cause it was so perfect because I was like,
Perfect.
that was such a solid drive and kick out from Clay.
That was like
Gary,
the best pass I ever seen.
nobody around. And I was like, Gary got this. He got
Right.
this. And then it
Hmm.
didn't go in. But also, that Gary is working hard to make those as well because
Hmm.
he's bummed that he didn't make it. But he goes down, sprints, and gets the deflection. And it's just like, all right, no harm, no foul. Look, we back in it. We back in it.
He's such a
Yeah,
game changer. I mean, he ended up
he
leading the
is.
team tonight with +9. Stuffs the stat sheet, 9 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals. He's just kind of always everywhere, and it's
Yeah,
hard to keep him off the court. He only played 22 minutes, but it's kind of hard to not play him like close to 30 minutes a game, because
yeah.
he's just everywhere. Um, cool. Let's take a little break, and then we'll get back with what they got going on next. So we're looking at the Dallas score right now. Dallas is
What
playing
they doing?
Denver. They're down 12. So the winner of this game kind of
Ooh,
determines who's going to be um, number one seed. I think if
right,
Denver wins, then Golden State elevates to the number one seed.
right.
Um, I'm liking the way they're stacking these wins. To be honest, like we thought going into the season, like that first stretch of games, they have so many on the road, and obviously they still have a few more to go. It's going to be tough to get to 8 wins. It's going to be tough to get to
Mhm.
7 wins, but they're in prime position to do so now. After grinding out these 2 wins, the last 2 games. I mean, I think we can agree last year's team probably would have lost both of these games.
They absolutely would have. Like, no question. Like, there's no question because the games were close.
Hmm.
Even even last season, we'd be up by a mile and we'd still manage to lose in the final seconds. So
Yep.
we absolutely would have gotten crushed in this game and
Hmm.
the game prior to. So this is just really good to see them battling like all the way to the end. And you don't see any deflatedness in them. Like shoulders
Hmm.
aren't slumped. They are still very much um, focused and saying, look, we may be down by 3. That's not stopping us. We have enough time to make this a game, to still get this win. And so that's really exciting to see. And it's not just, oh, we're going all starters. They're mixing in some of the
Yes.
second unit players in there to do
Hmm.
that. Kaminga was just on that. CP3 is in the closing lineups, but we see GP2 and like it hasn't been like, oh, we're going with our same, true
Right.
starters or whatever. It's been mixing and matching, but I just like that we're still fighting till the very end and not just looking defeated before anything happens. So that's good.
Yep.
So who do we got up next? Not Detroit, no, right? That's too. Is
No,
it
it's
Detroit?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. That's right, and I think then Detroit because
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
close.
Cleveland and Detroit back to back, and then Denver.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. Like, and this is the strength of this team. I think this is their path to getting back to the finals and ultimately winning it. Is just how deep they are, how many different options they have, how much lineup versatility they have. They can go big. Obviously, at the
Yep.
end, I really like that lineup, that like their all defense lineup they put out there.
Yep.
It was just what it was: Clay, Wiggins, Kaminga, Draymond, and Gary.
Yep.
I want to say, like, can switch 1 through 5
Yeah.
essentially. Like all of those dudes, that's just like your big wings. Other than Gary, who's just like he just
He
has no
listen.
label.
He's 6'7" and a 6'3" body.
He
Okay.
pretty much is, yeah. Like, like when he needs to be 6'3" and snake through screens and be super slippery
Right.
out there, he does it. When he needs to be 6'8" and meet guys at the rim, he does it. He's just a ridiculous defender. But um it kind of intrigued me that they can put that much length on the court. And I think when people talk about the size of Golden State and how they're smaller than everyone else,
Hmm.
I think they have more or just as much, if not more size in that middle portion of the roster, like the 2, 3, and 4s.
Yeah. Yep.
They have a bunch of 6'7", 6'8" guys with long arms that are athletes and stuff like that they can put out there. Even Moody's 6'5" with a 7+ foot
Yeah.
wingspan. So they may be small at the point guard position, particularly when Chris Paul is out there. But other positions, I think they're fine. Even though Looney's considered an undersized big, he's
Right.
so strong. His arms are long. He knows how to play position. So I don't think he's small there. But one thing that I really like is Kerr's been very selective with the micro ball lineups. Like he hasn't
Yep.
played Steph with CP3 together a ton. Like it's very small windows, which is kind of what I
Yeah.
envision for this team. Now sometimes he'll go Steph, CP3, and Gary and Clay at the same time, which is a little
Yeah.
risky.
It can be.
It can be. It can be. I think there was one play out there where they got a good stop, and then like CP3 was just helpless on a rebound, and Thunder got it back and laid it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be moments like that, but I think overall, like you said, they have so many different options they can go to that it's kind of like always somebody in chopping at the bit to go out there and make a play. There's always somebody out there aggressive. Whereas last year's team, it was like, if our starters don't got it, we're losing. Like,
Right.
if our best
Be
players
like,
don't got
well,
it,
this game is over.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it's only halftime.
Exactly. It's like there were so many tweets last year of like, oh, this is a loss. Like before the
Yeah.
game is even halfway done, everyone knows they were going to lose that game.
Right.
Whereas whereas this year, even when you're like kind of like you said, it felt like they were down 15 when they were only down 4, and they still find a way to win this game.
Yeah.
Just kind of a testament to how good the roster is constructed this year and what they can do ultimately going forward.
And their willingness to stay together in it
Mhm.
and still say, no, we have this. We can do this.
Yep.
Let's keep together and let's just keep it moving. Let's just keep it moving because we can still win. We've got time.
And that's kind of like a hallmark of the Warriors dynasty. Like everybody's together, everybody trusts each other, everybody's touching the ball, everybody is selling out for each other defensively. And I think that just has to maintain, right? There's going to be at some point in the season they might go on a losing streak or something like that, and that'll be kind of like the test of their fortitude as a team, their chemistry. Because in 2022 they had a moment where they didn't do so well, right? And they just kind of stuck with it and went into the playoffs and really showed that through. So yeah, super excited about that. I guess we can look forward to the Cleveland game. Fun fact, the Cavaliers have not beaten the Warriors in a game since the 2017 finals. Game 4.
Wow.
Yeah, since that game, like 6 years ago, they have not beaten the Warriors a single time. So hopefully I didn't just jinx them.
Hopefully you didn't, however. But is Garland still going to be out with that hamstring?
I'm not entirely sure.
Because he's been out since like their first game of the season. Like he played that and then you ain't see him.
So he just played today.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, he played 32 minutes too, so he's back.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily play well, but he's back.
But he had 32 minutes out there.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. He's a tough cover.
Okay.
Mitchell's a tough cover.
Yep.
So curious to see how they guard that. This is supposed to be one of those teams that is like bigger than the Warriors, and it'll kind of put pressure on them to rebound the ball and do all that stuff. So we'll see how they do against them. And then they got Detroit in the back-to-back. I want to say tonight was the first game of the season where like all of their players on the roster were active. Like there were no injuries or no missing players.
Okay.
Yeah.
For us. For us. We were all clear.
Yeah. So curious to see if they play everybody on that back-to-back and see what they do there.
Well, look, going to Detroit now, that's where they'll get to see Wiseman really for the first time, right? Because I don't think the last time we went to Detroit, he was on the team yet.
Nah, he wasn't.
So, I mean, he may not even play just as, as it's been looking. Because homie that went to his school is lighting it up. So,
You talking about Lester?
is that it? No, not Lester. No, the other
Somebody.
big dude. Didn't he go to Memphis as well?
Oh,
The
Jalen.
the
Did Jalen go to Memphis?
I think so.
Oh yeah, dang,
Look,
that's
Greg,
crazy.
check it. Fact check me, but I'm almost positive, homie went to Memphis too. But
That's crazy. He
yeah,
surely did.
so that's gonna be. I mean, listen, they haven't been, tricking off any like back to back the back end of games. Granted, we just had that first one. We finally played against the Pelicans. They got to
Mhm.
actually see Stephen Curry play. So I
And
don't.
he
I
put on the
think
show.
this might be. Yeah, I think this might be too early in the season for them to be resting on a back to back so far. So
Uh-huh.
I anticipate them playing. And that will be something because Detroit's going to really try to do some stuff.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
so will the Cavs because, dealing with Donovan alone, he's really strong and quick. So,
yeah,
but he has his ups and downs. So,
yeah. Well, see, usually Wiggins guards him well. We
yeah.
haven't really seen a game from Wiggs where he absolutely shuts down the other team's like star or lead ball
Star.
handler. So I'm waiting for that Wiggins to come back. I think once that Wiggins comes back, you'll really start to see this team, take off because I think that's
Yeah.
been like the missing piece so far, right? Their defense as a
Yeah.
team is held up and they've gone on stretches where they've like locked teams down and just forced teams into bad shots. But we haven't really had that game where the other guy's coming in there and he's just like he can't do anything, right? Like that
Right.
3 for
Right.
12 night from the other team's best guy. Um, so hopefully Wiggins can get that on Donovan Mitchell. Um, what was I about to say? So, dang.
Who we're playing? Well, we were talking about who we're coming up, what's coming up that we're going to play, and then you were also
Mhm.
checking in on
Oh yeah,
Dallas
yeah,
and Denver. But go ahead.
yeah. So I was going to say they should be able to play that back to back just because their minutes have been so low. Um, as individual players, like
Yeah.
Steph only played 31 minutes, and
Oh, that's nice.
it's getting to a point where it's like, dang, when the last time Steph played? Like when we watching the game, you like Steph been out the game for
Right?
a long time.
Like where he at?
Exactly. So they're preserving their legs. Draymond only played 29 minutes. I mean, he had 5 fouls, but
Okay.
29 minutes. Clay led the team in minutes with 33. Um, and I mean, that's going to be, I think Clay's probably going to end up leading the team in minutes. Other than Steph, just
Yeah,
because they need his shooting to blend a lot of lineups together.
right.
So if Moody can kind of come into his own a little bit more as a scorer, be a little bit more aggressive, I think he can eat into Clay's minutes a little bit more and just give him a rest. But yeah, their minutes are low. Chris Paul 28, which is kind of like the sweet spot for him. And a few of those minutes were just late game start and stop minutes because they kept
Yeah.
fouling or whatever the case may be. So I think they're managing these guys well so far. Um, so they should be in it
I
for the
agree.
long haul. Denver, I guess we can look ahead to Denver because Cleveland, Detroit's a back to back, and then Denver
Mhm.
is the game after that.
Oh, okay. Whew. Yeah, yeah.
That's
That
gonna be
one, yeah, that one is
that's a
is
test
going to be tough.
for sure.
That could be one of those. All right, well, there's a good chance we take an L just coming off of the stint that we've just did,
Mhm.
and then the altitude. So it's really just a combination of of all of that,
Right.
and so. But who knows? What's Denver looking like? Like, what is their schedule by the time we meet up with them? What are they doing?
That's a good question. I'll go check that right now. But yeah, I agree. Like just all the things leading up to that won't be in Golden State's favor. But this could be a time, which I don't think they're going to do it, but this could be a time where you call Pods and TJD up from the G League for that second night
Kind of.
back to back.
Hmm.
Just play them some more minutes, play Pods a little bit more so Steph can sit some, and maybe Steph only plays like 22 minutes that night or something against Detroit. But Denver has the first night of a back to back is tonight. They play Dallas and they play Chicago tomorrow night. Then it's New Orleans and then it's Golden State. With a game with a
Okay.
day in between each of those games.
Okay, are they at home all this time, or are they traveling too?
They are at home for all 4 of those
Okay.
games.
All right.
So
All
they
right.
chilling in
So
that
they're
altitude.
they're right. They're chilling in that altitude. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a test for Golden State.
Okay.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
going into that game, you win both of these next 2 games, hopefully, right? So you're going into that game
Right.
7-1. So it's not a lot of pressure on you to, win that game for standings purposes, right? You can go in that
Right.
game kind of playing with house money and you go after it and see what you can do. But Denver, they are the champs. They are one of the better teams in the
Hmm.
league already, again, still. So I think it'll be a good test for them in a potentially Western Conference Finals or playoff matchup. They can kind of see how they match up with that team going forward.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like it 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 definitely hinges upon how they do against the Cavs and the Pistons. Like,
Yep.
what are they looking like coming out of those two uh, games that you feel? Then you can kind of get a better sense of what they're going into Denver looking like.
Hmm.
So, because I I have this feeling that they definitely want to go into Denver to send a message that,
For sure.
listen, y'all ain't meet with us. Y'all had them fakers. So I feel like there might be a little bit of that, even though, Denver wasn't doing all that talking against,
Right.
the Dubs or anything like that. But I still think that they may want to go in there and just tap them on their shoulder. Just be like,
Hmm.
don't forget about us.
Yeah,
So, you know, so hoping for some good wins and great play against Cleveland and Detroit.
for sure. Sure. So they can have that momentum going into that game.
Hmm.
If you ask Denver fans, like when they beat Denver in the playoffs 2022, it's because Jokic didn't have anybody playing with him. And,
No
like,
Jamal, and
yeah.
yeah.
So I would definitely like to see and beat Denver in the playoffs again with their full team.
Hmm.
Uh, just so it's just another notch on the resume for those dudes.
Yeah.
Um, just taking a look at across the Western Conference outside of Denver, is some teams out there that's struggling a little bit that was supposed to be really, really good. I
Right.
think you mentioned them earlier. The
Yeah,
team
those
out in LA.
fakers.
Yeah,
Yeah, their golden boy, Austin Reeves,
looking
has
a little ahead,
been suspect, but
a little sus, a little sus.
we'll
Um,
take it because, again, everybody gets up for the Warriors anyway.
mhm,
So they can all be looking like doo doo right now. But as soon as they come and play us, or we
yep,
go there and play them, all of a sudden they remember how to play basketball, and
right.
they doing trickery and all this, and then the whistles are going, and it's just like, yo, uh,
Hmm.
houseway,
Right.
So that'll be interesting as they're setting down there, and then with the Clippers where they're sitting, aren't they like tied or whatever? um
Hmm.
because they haven't been looking the best either, but you know
Yeah. The Clippers, they've been okay. They haven't played anybody. The only good teams they've
hmm
played, um, well, good teams they've played are
yeah,
the Lakers,
yeah.
and they lost to the Lakers in OT. Um, and then everybody else they've beaten are like lower level teams.
Right.
It's kind of like the theme for a lot of these teams, but not the Warriors. They beat some good teams. The Suns are 2-3 out of the play in right now, and
Yeah,
their health is just not looking any better.
it
Apparently,
isn't.
Devin Booker tweaked something again in his foot,
Yep.
so he's day to day. Bradley Bill's out. We saw that video of Bradley Bill shooting around and looked like he couldn't even lift his arms above his head
Hmm.
properly.
Hmm.
Um,
And
so I think,
KD,
yeah,
he just
it's a matter of time.
exactly. He's a walking injury waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And no one wishes injury upon any player. It's just the nature. Like we've got, evidence to support that
Hmm.
he's got this potential to eventually be injured later on, especially with him playing such high minutes right now. with
Yep.
the team just, not being all completely healthy. And I thought that they were going to be a lot better than they are right now. I mean, granted, when we played them, of course, it was just, oh wow, Devin Booker is like a maniac. He can't miss, and every all the role players stepping up and playing out of their minds. And then we haven't seen that
Mm-hmm.
since.
Right. It's crazy. It's like, of course, like you just said, they play us, and everybody's like the best version of themselves.
Right,
It's pretty
right.
annoying. I mean, the Warriors should have pulled that game out. They had the lead, and they should have pulled
Yeah,
that game
they
out, which
should
would have
have.
made the Suns 1-4 right now. But they're 2-3 instead. Lost 2 games back to back to Wembanyama. But Wemby is
Whoo, that kid,
scary.
he is. I'm like, shucks. When do we play them? Look.
Right. And you look at players like that, it's like, man, I'm glad this is kind of like the tail end of the dynasty right now, because having to deal with that guy for the next, I don't know how many years, is going to
Right.
be not fun. So we definitely got to squeeze out to at least 1 or 2 more
Yeah.
before he get a
Yeah.
team that can get him to where he's eventually going to get to.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Spurs are looking good, bright for the future. But yeah, I mean, I think we covered so much stuff,
Yeah.
talking about all the guys. Steph is still churning out MVP level performances.
Yeah.
He's just, amazing. Like 31 minutes, 30 points. He might have one more point than that. I don't know, but 30 points in 31 minutes. They took some points away from him apparently. 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. They keep winning. He's gonna be right at the forefront of that MVP conversation, which is like some historical stuff.
It really is. And I mean, he just continues to look better and better. Like his off games are most players like best games they've ever had.
Literally.
So to know that he still can get better and will get better throughout is just insane. But I love it because, Stephen MVP number 3.
Yeah. MVP number 3 and championship number 5
Yep.
makes him
Sounds great.
sounds like he ties a certain point guard in
Hmm.
history.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then those conversations would have to be very uncomfortable for some people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we've got a long season to go, and I'm liking what I'm seeing with our Dubs. So it's
For sure.
exciting. It's exciting.
For sure. I was just bragging about how they've only given up 30 points in a quarter, like very few times so far this season. Gave up 30 every single quarter of
Yep.
this game.
Yep.
That's okay.
But this game was high powered. Like
It was.
it was crazy. I was like, how are we already gonna be at 100 points and we are still
In the third
early in this third quarter? Like,
crazy.
I did not expect this.
Right.
This is a super high score.
And it was just a lot of tough shot making. Like obviously Lou Dort, that was fake.
Out of his
Case and Wallace just putting Wiggins in the cup, laying it right by his hand. Yeah, it was just one of those games, but the Warriors found a way.
We did.
That is the Warrior way, to find a way. Hopefully they keep stacking these wins, going a little streak. They say checking on a team 20 games in. I mean, right now they're 5-1, right? So if they can just keep stacking them and get to 20 wins, get to 20 games with less than 5-ish wins, that would be
five losses, less than like
5
losses
for sure.
Yeah.
5 losses. Yeah. If they can get there 15-5 or better, that would be amazing, because that means you're on pace for like 60, right? And home court advantage for sure in the playoffs. And back to what we were saying about those other teams in the West, they're struggling right now. So the Warriors got to take advantage and create that gap between them. So when they do go have a slow point in the season, they can have that cushion right there.
But hopefully we don't have that lull. Granted, every team goes through a lull where it's just like, woo, all right, we gotta start winning again. However, I just think with what we have, our depth that we have, we can stay afloat. Yeah, you can drop a game here and there, but I don't foresee us having stretches
Right.
of losses. You know what I mean? So I think we can sustain this winning
Hmm.
and, kind of drop here and there, but nothing to where it's looking bleak. So,
That's fair. That's fair.
that,
And I mean, I think in 2022, we probably would have said the same thing if it wasn't for injuries, right? So, like,
yeah, it was
if
just
they,
like,
yeah,
yo.
as long as they stay healthy,
Right.
I agree. They probably shouldn't have any long stretches or extended stretches of losing or just bad play and stuff like that. So, hopefully they stay healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a highly anticipated season. They've delivered so far, and hopefully they just continue to deliver.
Yeah. And Andrew keeps finding his game,
Hmm.
keeps finding it because each game he's gotten more rebounds. That's what it looks like it's been doing. He's been ticking up. So that's good.
Yep.
Like I need him to be at a cool 7 rebounds a game. Like, come on. At least.
7.
I mean, is that asking for too much? I just feel like he's in spots that it's like, if you just move right
I
here, you
know.
have it. Like Wiggins, where are you looking? It's right here.
Yeah, that's the Wiggins dilemma right there. It's like you can probably grab 6 or 7 rebounds a game easy. You can probably get 2, 3 dunks a game easy. Just be chilling a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he's
but
stepping
you're
up.
saying so you think 7 is too high. That's
I
too
think
much of a lofty goal.
I think for the minutes that he's playing this season, it is a
Mhm.
little bit high. Like he's only at 25 and a half. I can see him getting up to 30. So
So you're saying so
5 is
should
good.
five should be the base,
Yeah,
but not the max. It should be the base.
you should get at least 5.
5
And
a game. Like I need that on your board, your vision board,
yeah,
Wiggins. Like 5 a game.
5 a game. Like at least
Make
the
it
defensive
happen.
rebounds. He should not ever give up an offensive rebound to his man or anybody in his area, unless it's like a true center monster rebounder. But like
Right.
those
Those
other wings,
those were kind of like, listen, all right, you
yeah,
didn't get that one. We'll give you that. But there are those that we're seeing like Wiggins, that was you, homie. Like
hmm
you didn't even box out.
yeah.
Like,
You didn't box out.
what are
You
we
didn't dump. Nothing.
doing?
Yeah,
Nothing.
they kind of need to get him on that Kaminga program where Kaminga's going for everything now. They told him, look,
Yeah.
crash, and now all he does is crash. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, okay,
But yeah.
okay.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So
Right. Fine.
I appreciate you coming on, joining us. Definitely going to be on, obviously, very, very often this season.
Well, thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I always, love to step in and try to fill the seat for Natalie while
Yeah.
she takes a day or whatever. So
For sure, for sure. To all our listeners, continue to support, comment, like, share, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube as well if you want to watch the video, interact on Twitter, send us mailbag questions, all the whole deal. We're trying to grow and all that good stuff. So continue to support us, and we'll be back after probably the Detroit game. Peace.
absolutely. Bye.